I mean, can I predict the future? I don't know. We're going to have to find out. I think I can. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. What's up, beautiful souls? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. My name is Bree, and I hope you are having a wonderful day, week, month, year, all of the things. On today's episode of What the Fuck Will Bree Talk About Today? No, in today's video, we are going to be predicting the future. That's right, your girl's a fortune teller. Surprise! No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to try and guess which books I think are going to be included in April's Book of the Month box. If you're not familiar with Book of the Month, it is a monthly book subscription where they take the guesswork out of picking out good books and they send them right to you. That's right, girl. You don't even have to leave your house. You don't have to change out of your jammies. You can stay cozy, collect your books, and get to the good stuff. Don't get me wrong. I do love a trip to the bookstore, all right? I really do. But just something feels right about not having to leave my house and still get the goods delivered to me, okay? So if that sounds something like you would be interested in, there's a link down below. All right, there's always a link down below because I got to keep y'all connected with the good stuff. All right, we're not gatekeepers over here. So if you want to hop in on all of the good books, I got you, bestie. I got you. So today we are going to take a look at some new April releases and see if we can pick out which ones they might be including. Personally, I think if we get at least 3 right, because there's usually 5 to 7, if we get at least 3 right, I don't know, I feel like your girl should get some type of compensation, maybe like a credit, you know, right? I'm kidding. Am I though? Am I BOTM? I'm not kidding. All right, y'all know the drill. Before we get into it, we are going to crack a cold one. That was less dramatic. The last one we did in our last video, that girl was everywhere. All right, the doctor was feeling himself. Oh, yes. It never gets old, all right? So that's your cue. Get your bevy, get your snacks, and let's bring it in, besties, and let's talk about some books. Alrighty, so I jotted down some notes for us today. Just a little something on each of these books. All right, so like I said, they do span across multiple genres. Like I've seen fantasy, I've seen thriller, they have horror, historical fiction. There was a memoir, I think, in this last one. And what's also really cool is they do this thing called the Lolly Awards, and that is pretty much awarded to like the book of the year, and we get to vote on what book that is. Personally, I don't agree with the book that won for last year. That was The God of the Woods. I will be sharing all of my thoughts on that book in my March. Are we in March? Holy shit. In my March wrap up. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to catch that one. All right, so starting off with my favorite genre is going to be the thrillers. I've got a couple that I think they might include. So here we go. The first one is The Last Session, and that is by Julia Bartz. This is a white-knuckled, locked room thriller about a social worker who, after coming face to face with her dark past, must infiltrate a mysterious wellness center. I love a locked room thriller. So I kind of really hope that this could be included. But then this next one is actually a sequel to a book that I read last year, and I really, really enjoyed it. It is the sequel to Killers of a Certain Age, and this one is called Kills Well with Others, and it is by Deanna Raybourn. So basically, Killers of a Certain Age follows 4 assassins, and they just so happen to be spicy, sassy, senior citizen assassins. So picture the Golden Girls out here with a Glock, okay? So this one follows the same 4 women after a year hiatus from their last big adventure in the first book. So obviously if you haven't read The Killers of a Certain Age, highly recommend it. And then go ahead and hop on the sequel. And the reason I think this one is a good contender is because the first one was a BOTM pick last year. So these women are about to sharpen their knives for another bloody good adventure, bringing down a criminal queen. So I think the really fun thing about this series, even though I haven't read the second one, but I have read like the synopsis of it, is it's very female driven. So they've got a female like head of the department, of the like assassin department, and then obviously there's 4 female assassins, and then we learn in this one that the criminal villain is also female. So I'm loving these vibes that it's giving us. All right, next genre we have is another favorite of mine, and that is the mystery genre. And the first book I think could be included is This Is Not a Game by Kelly Mullen. This is another locked room mystery thriller taking place on Michigan's, is it Mackinac? Is the sea silent? I feel like it is. I've heard of Mackinac Island. I just don't know if this is the same one. Is it? I hope it is. If not, I'm an idiot, and forgive me, all right? I'm not out here reading geography books. This is about a locked room mystery where game designer Addie is visiting her grandma Mimi for the weekend. They're attending a charity auction when a storm arrives, trapping all the guests in a mansion. When the host is murdered, Mimi and Addie turn sleuth. Okay. Immediately, yes, it's giving like Clue vibes. Again, I love a locked room mystery thriller, so I feel like this one's gonna be right up my alley. This next one though is one that I absolutely freaking hope is included. If it's not, I'm probably still gonna buy it, because it's out of all the books we're gonna talk about today. Well, not all of them. There's a couple others that I really will. I'll pick it up even if it's not book of the month. And this one is The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig. When 5 high school friends go on a camping trip, they find a mysterious staircase that appears to lead nowhere and disappears after one of them walks up and doesn't come back. 20 years later, the staircase reappears and the 4 survivors go in search of their lost friend. First of all, the cover of this, yes. And then this mysterious staircase, one of them goes up, doesn't come down. 20 years later, what were y'all doing in those 20 years? I cannot. I have to grab this one. All right, next up we have the fiction category. And so this spans across like fiction and then like pop fiction, literary fiction. First one is called The Page Turner by Viola Shipman. Emma Page's parents are snobby literary authors. Knowing that her family would disapprove, Emma hides her romance manuscript from them. Then she unearths secrets at the family cottage that could ruin her parents' reputation and has to decide what to do. I love a good family drama. Family secrets? Absolutely. Yes. Next on the list is The Library of Lost Dollhouses by Elise Hooper. When a young librarian discovers historic dollhouses in a hidden room, she embarks on an unexpected journey that reveals surprising secrets about the lost miniatures. So this one kind of crosses over into like that historical fiction vibe. The premise of this sounds really cool. You guys know I'm not a big historical fiction girly, so we'll see, but I do think that this one could be fun. Next up is romance. This, I can almost guarantee you that this book is going to be in there because Abby Jimenez is a repeat author for Book of the Month, and that is her new release, Say You'll Remember Me. This follows the story of Javier, it could be Xavier, I'm going to say Javier, a gorgeous veterinarian, and Samantha, to whom he says the wrong thing. On a forgive me date, the two hit it off spectacularly. However, Samantha's life is in crisis, and she decides to tell Javier to forget all about her. Now, I have to be honest with you guys, I'm not a big romance girly anymore. I used to love reading romance novels, but nowadays they're not my jam. So with that said, I have never, ever read Abby Jimenez. I've heard amazing things. There are a lot of people that absolutely love her. I, however, have not read it, so even if this is one of the picks, I'm probably not going to select it for myself. Next one is Flirting Lessons by Jasmine Guillory. Avery Jensen, fresh off a breakup, wants to embrace life and date around but lacks confidence. Taylor Cameron, a notorious flirt, she offers to teach Avery how to flirt, and sparks fly. As their chemistry grows, both struggle with their feelings, unsure if they've already ruined something special. Oh, I love this. This sounds like a cute, it's like a meet cute almost, like, hey girl, let me help you, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, I might like you. Yeah? It sounds cute. It sounds like friends to lovers for sure. Next on the list is fantasy. And this is another one that I can almost guarantee is going to be in the box. And that is the book 2 of Wicked Games, which is Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is the second book to, I think last year Phantasma came out. It may have even been the year before that, but Phantasma was a book of the month pick. It was actually one of the nominees for the Lolly Awards. So I have a huge feeling that it is going to be one of April's book of the month picks. Phantasma follows a necromancer who needs help from a dangerous phantom to win a deadly competition, only to find their partnership puts her at risk of breaking the game's most vital rule: don't fall in love. I unfortunately did not read Phantasma. It is on the TBR. I just haven't gotten to it yet. So it will be interesting to see how Enchantra, the second one, plays out. And the little blurb for that one is a spicy enemies to lovers fantasy romance where an Italian getaway turns deadly after a young woman is trapped in her host's family's cursed game. Sounds really interesting. I love the premise. You guys know I love any book that includes magic in it. Super fun. But I do think that one is definitely going to be included in there because, like I said, Kaylee Smith is a repeat author for them. Next, we have historical fiction. My least favorite genre. However, there is one in here that sounded very good. Like, I'm like, ooh, I like that. I like that a little bit. And that is The Eights by Joanna Miller. There's actually, I'm not going to lie, there's actually a couple in the historical fiction. I'm like, ooh, I might actually like that. All right, so this one is The Eights, Joanna Miller. A story set at Oxford University in 1920, the first year women were admitted. Beatrice, Dora, Mary Ann, and Otto, all rooming on the same hall, come of the age as they attend courses and become fast friends while navigating the heavy weight of misogyny and world changed by World War. Something about this sounds really good. I hate misogyny, but I love books about it because it's very eye-opening. You get a new perspective on just how women handled things at different times. And so I think that one, Oh, I might have to add it to the list. The next one is The Lilac People by Milo Todd, a novel set during World War II in which Bertie, a trans man, and his girlfriend Sophie assume the identities of an elderly couple surviving at an isolated farm. At the end of the war, they in turn try to save a trans man from the Allies, who are rearresting queer prisoners while liberating the rest of Germany. The story of this sounds so good. This is another one that I'm like, oh, I might have to get this one because I just think it's so intriguing to know. I don't know, obviously, Milo Todd. I didn't look up, what he knows or doesn't know about the situation back then, but I would assume he's done his due diligence and his research on how people were treated back then. So I think it would be interesting to see really what it was like to deal with it, because if you haven't watched the news or you've been living under a rock, obviously trans people have been being attacked left and right within the media and by the current administration that is, we're just going to leave it at that. And so to learn how they were treated back then, to see if there are parallels, in which I'm sure there are, because it feels like we haven't had much growth on the treatment of people, so I do think that this will be one that I might have to grab. The next one is Tough Luck by Sandra Dallas. In 1863, Haiti and her brother Boots are put to work in an orphanage after their mother dies. Their father is somewhere in the West searching for gold, having left them nearly 4 years ago. They decide to go looking for him, facing dangers and finding a community. Filled with vivid period detail, colorful characters, and the irreverent voice of our scrappy heroine, Tough Luck celebrates both the tenacity of youth and the persistence of the heart in the great American West. So yeah, if you've been loving like the Wild West stories that have been out lately, you might really relate and love this one. All right, last but certainly not least is another one that I think a lot of people are anticipating, is Happy Land by Jolene Perkins Valdez, a woman who discovers her family's legacy as part of the Kingdom of the Happy Land, a self-sustaining community of formerly enslaved men and women who were ruled by a king and queen high in the mountains of the Carolinas before vanishing. So to go a little bit more in depth on this one, a young woman asks, I think it's her great-great-grandmother, to tell her stories of her past, or her grandmother, I think it is, to tell her a story of her past, and she tells her of her great-great-grandmother who ended up, I think, being a queen of these mountains that are in the Appalachia, I think it is, and it just sounds really beautiful. Like, it's going to be one of those stories that sits with you for a long time. And those are my favorite types of stories. All right, so those are all of my predictions for Book of the Month's April picks. If you agree with any of those, let me know down below. If you have any of your own guesses, I would also be interested to hear what those are, because again, your girl loves to add to the TBR. That is going to be it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like this video, drop some comments down below, of course, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I love you and happy reading.